Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending tonight. And calling the meeting to order at 6:11. And roll call, we've got that. We are missing Bethany and Dale.
Bethany.
Sorry, Bethany, sorry, wrong name. Selena, I knew you were there. I saw you. We spoke already. Selena Horsfall and Dale Hawk from the Friends of the Sandy Library. So first off, let's, do we have any public comment that you know of, Sarah?
See if we have any participants from the public here. We didn't just a minute ago. Sorry. This is in my way. No, I can't because I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
There we go. Nope, it's just Bethany
Okay.
who's here. Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, so let's look at the minutes from the August 7th meeting. Did anyone have any additions or corrections to those minutes for that meeting? Okay. Can I get a motion, please, to approve the meeting minutes as submitted? I move. Thank you, Liz. Second? Second. Thank you, Kathy. And to adopt those as sent? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Okay. And we will then go to new business.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, can I? Apologies, Bethany. We're going to turn our back on you.
Yeah. We still love you. We just need to see.
I understand.
So these are the reports from the strategic plan, our final reports. So if you had a chance to look through them, you'll see that some of them we have lots of survey data and some of them we just have a few surveys that came through. So, so the first objective was about early literacy, so to create young readers. So this was a story time survey that we gave out during story time sessions. And we spectacularly reached our first objective. I mean, not by 2018 necessarily, but so for some of these, I gave additional data because we've extended the strategic plan anyway. And I knew that would be a question that people would ask. You know, if I just put through 2018, you would be like, well, have we reached it since then?
Yeah.
And so I wanted you to be able to see that.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Well,
965. So,
wow, that's wonderful.
yeah,
That's a far cry from 1713.
yeah.
Wow.
Let's see, objective number 2 was about parents using the 5 practices. So we didn't reach part 1 of the objectives because most of the parents pretty much indicated that they knew the 5 practices. I don't know if that's because we spelled them out specifically or, you know, yeah, but we did reach part 2 of the objective, so. For those surveyed. And then the third objective, 60% of parents will say that the 5 practices contribute to their child's learning abilities, and we were well above that. And then this objective, we managed to get it into 9 out of the 10 schools. That was before the pandemic hit. The Welch's school was the only school we didn't get into.
Do you do that in partnership with the librarians at the schools or?
We, yes, mostly, yeah.
As an aside, how many of the schools actually have librarians?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Not many.
It's shared.
Yeah, there's a one middle school librarian that floats among all the middle schools, I believe. And the elementary schools may be the same situation.
Mhm.
And then the high school has a librarian, yeah. And then we wanted to try to increase our story time attendance by 50%, and we managed to increase it by 25% this past year. So didn't reach 50%, but it's definitely increasing.
Mhm.
And that is with in-person story times and people watching our virtual story times.
Continuing those, Sarah?
Yes,
The virtual? Okay.
Yep.
Is your 25% increase is from the year before?
nope, it's from the base year.
Thank you.
Are those more attended like when they're outside? Because I know you did some in the gazebo. Is there a pattern of attendance?
No, I mean, the attendance overall has increased in both in the park and in the library. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter where we hold them. And Hoodland attendance for story time is really good currently too. So we'll see when the school year kicks in, what happens, because a lot of times attendance goes down a little bit and then starts to build a little bit again. So that's more the patterns we see is throughout the year.
So is summer reading program considered part of this data or is that separate data?
The summer reading program isn't part of the Create Young Readers.
Right.
It is in the programming mostly when we get there. So, and this is our reading survey. So we had 642 people fill it out in that time period. So we didn't have any data for the first objective in 2021, 22, or 22, 23. But in all of the other years, we did reach the first objective, which was in each fiscal year ending June 30th, 75% of adults, teens, and kids surveys will report that the collection of materials is very good or excellent. And then we reached this objective. So people say that they get their holds in a timely manner, which is good news. Kathleen Drain in the beginning was like, what are you gonna do if they say no?
We don't have any control over it.
I was gonna say we'd have to order more copies of things and, try to, yeah, but,
Another van for network.
yeah. We reached objective number 3. The assistance they receive from staff is either very good or excellent. So I love seeing like the point.
Who was grumpy that day?
Yeah.
Control.
Yes, and so that is the total for the reading survey. So this one has fewer surveys done, but still at least a decent number for each year.
It doubled in 2 years. That's great. Number.
So yeah, 22 students took classes at the library. That was all. So we were hoping for at least 50. But we reached the second part of the objective, which is 80% say they'll know how to find the information in the library catalog and databases. So
Do you think that's a function of just the school not being able to kind of carry it on their end or?
yeah, the 5th graders used to do all of 5th graders in the district used to do a field trip to the library, and that stopped. And that's mainly what happened. So.
Well, and this is, the time period that's including, really 2+ years of COVID.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
Maybe just throw
I mean, it's pretty
everything.
outstanding that we got I mean, you can see the jump
Yeah.
in these, the last year for sure. In the last 2 years.
So we did not reach our objective of 50% of students, report using library databases for homework. So we're at 38.12.
Do they need to be library members to use the databases?
Yes.
What are that's impacting their ability to use it?
With this, I can give you just anecdotal evidence. That challenge has persisted
Yeah.
for decades,
Mhm.
despite having this wonderful array of material. It's somehow getting the patrons, adult or child, to that page to then enter that portal.
Yeah.
Has proven mysterious.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mysterious. I mean, it.
Yeah, I would say
Understand.
consumer reports is probably our most used database and it's still underused.
Yeah.
I remember school district is, I mean, because I kind of
It has their own list of databases as well.
that, so I think, they might be just taking the direction from the school and.
Right. Yeah.
But we tried with the homeschoolers, about a decade ago, actually trying to specifically do outreach to homeschoolers, thinking, well, we'll teach them how to.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know,
I would push that every time I was providing a new library card, for new patrons. And say, oh, we got these great online resources, this, and seeing that their kids are with them, their school age kids. And it's like, they've got to do a report for, on George Washington or whatever, there's a bio and and they would just be wowed by the fact that we had them, but I don't know what it's.
the other thing is, internet searching itself has increased in quality.
Yeah.
In the decade as well, so there's a lot of competition there.
There's also, I think, it would be an expectation on the part of the teachers, and I don't know if this happens, that cite the multiple sources. Otherwise, as Wikipedia.
Yeah. But that's that's exactly what should be emphasized because that's how they can get those citations, right?
Right.
So over 75 people did attend classes. But we, instead of 90% of them saying that they were very good or excellent ability to, we had 71.43.
So was that any age or older age or?
This was any age, yeah. So that included our adult, our adult information literacy classes, which when we teach a computer class, there's an information literacy component to those computer classes. So they can fill out the computer class survey and the information literacy survey, so.
I think those are people just being honest about how challenged they feel.
Mhm. So we didn't have a 30% increase in adults. It varied a little bit, it's sort of all over the board, so.
That's really good though, from 21 at 0 to crank up to 21.43.
For excellent, that's true.
Yeah. And that's.
So these people who were in the very good category seem to have moved up into the excellent category. Mhm.
It's working.
Yeah, but it's also how much, how many people are really gonna say, well, I'm really I just know how to do it, that's all. It's just, so that would just be average, not excellent or anything like that.
Yeah.
Subjective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are subjective. I love this one. We had one person, so we reached the objective, but.
That's kind of pathetic, too.
So, and then the high school, we didn't make any progress on the information literacy in the high schools. We just didn't get into the high schools at all. So the next one is civics. And there are very few surveys, once again, for civics. We did a few civics related programs that were not very well attended, but each person who was there, I think, filled out a survey. So, yeah. So it's tough to get people interested in coming to a civics program or an information literacy program. Those are two areas that I feel like we need to do lots of it.
Yeah, extremely important.
Yeah, but it's difficult to get people interested in them, so.
We need to redefine civics.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Seriously, refine the nomenclature.
Mhm.
Some of your history programs could technically fall within the civics rubric, right?
Yeah.
It's a discussion of the evolution of different legislation or demographic changes. I mean, all of that could be intertwined in that and still lead to some greater understanding of government and community.
Right.
And I wonder if there are any of the author speaks ones that might fit under that category.
I do have a staff member who's in library school currently, and she wants to put on an information literacy program. So we'll see what she comes up with.
Yeah.
It'll be new and innovative because she's young and just getting started. So we'll see what we can do with that. But yeah.
That's something where the Oregon Historical Society might be able to give you some leads on the programs that they provide, but also their use of, they teach seminars on use of historical records, things like that, you know, and
That'd be cool.
that would be worth your checking with them to see whether they might not have some resources that could then be
Yeah.
borrowed or used online or.
Mhm.
You think of library school when you do the research projects and go research the topic and come present, it might be a different way of approaching
Right.
information literacy and databases, yeah. Because we're going to discuss this, see what you can find out.
Right. So more than 50% of the people said that they have a better understanding of how government works. We had 100% registered voters for our survey takers. It's hard not to be a registered voter in Oregon, but.
Leading the way again.
Yeah. So 10% of people said that they attended a civics related program in the past year.
This is out of the three?
Out of the six, there were six
Total
total.
six.
Yeah, yeah. So. Yeah, I mean,
I think I agree that it's a definitional issue.
Well, even history is a term that has to be redefined. It's more like the story of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because history just sounds so, and I was a history major at GE, but it just sounds so dry and boring.
So yes, here is our programming survey, 931 surveys. So, and that, I mean, we have over most years, we have over 15,000 attendees. So it's still a low number of people who fill out surveys for our programs. We don't hand them out at every single program, however.
That's part of.
Yeah. But I mean,
Explain the difference in the number for 17 and 18 versus 23, 24 is just not handing them out.
most likely, yeah.
I think people just glaze over with surveys. I do myself.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays you go to a site, would you give us a little survey and then go do that? Yeah, it almost doesn't matter what the survey is. I think that you just asked a whole lot.
Yeah.
How was your experience? So when you say survey, it is a little bit of a.
Yeah.
Pushback.
I don't know, I've, in programs that I've been at and have helped pass out the survey
Yes.
at the end. People have been really willing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they see this tiny little
Yeah,
quarter
yeah,
sheet
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I just say this really helps us learn
Yeah.
Mhm.
what you want.
Well, when someone's standing right in front of you asking you, it's very difficult to say no.
Yeah, right.
As compared to fill out the survey.
Yeah.
It's quite easy.
Online, it's not, yeah.
Does this include music in the park and movies in the park and things like that?
We're not involved in those programs. The library isn't.
I mean, you were, that's why it's just,
For the years that we did those programs, yes,
okay.
yeah.
So the numbers are like till 22 or something?
I mean, we were only involved,
Gosh, it's been at least 3 years, hasn't it, Sarah?
I mean, we were just doing the promotional materials for it, I think. The library, so the library didn't take credit for those program numbers.
Okay.
But this is the tree lighting for the years, because the library's been involved with that for a long time and like it includes things like the trick or treat trail,
Uh-huh.
because we're a stop on that. And so those are some of the big numbers come from those programs that are joint programs with other groups, but
You said that Dia de los Niños brings in a lot of people too, right?
yeah, Dia de los Niños and the Free Comic Book Day are both like at least 150 people. 250 for Dia de los Niños. So, and that's just a library program. So yeah,
Harry Potter's birthday.
Harry Potter's birthday, we had about 300 this year.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah. So. But I love to see that in this past fiscal year, we had 18,326. So we're back up to where we were in 2018, 2019, just about, which is wonderful. After having those years of
Yeah.
lower attendance.
Right.
So,
So this would include summer reading program.
yes, it does include summer reading programs. It includes every program that we hold.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
So, speaking of summer reading, how's the enrollment, quote unquote, this year?
I haven't seen the numbers yet, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
So in this one, we had 75% of people. Our goal was to say that, library was a resource to enhance their leisure time. We definitely reached that. And then, we wanted 50% of people surveyed to see that they would, that they attended a new program within the last year, and 58% did, and that they would recommend a library program to a friend, 99.25%. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then here is our Latino attendance for programming. So this includes our visits to Vista and now Pioneer Mobile Home Park. And then our Dia de los Niños or Dia del Niño
Right.
and Dia de los Muertos programs, mainly. But then there are a few other people who attend programs and indicate that they are Hispanic or Latino and they've attended a program. So, yeah.
You think you'll get back to those prior numbers, or like 17, 18? Is that achievable?
I think it is. It depends on the political climate somewhat, and things like that, how comfortable people are.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I'm sure.
and then this is our adult, teen, and family literacy. So this includes our ESOL, our English for speakers of other languages classes, and tutoring, and then also our reading tutoring for kids in kindergarten through second grade. So not many surveys, but I have a lot more anecdotal evidence from this, which is not included in here. But the reading tutors come in and like, they'll have like a little balloon because their student's doing so good and, all of those things, which are really exciting to see.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of fun.
Direct feedback.
Yeah, yeah. So we recruited enough volunteer English tutors. And we still have a few English tutors, but we have an English class happening at the library now on Sundays. And the same person is teaching an English class and then right afterwards a Spanish class.
Many people tend to attend.
The English class ranges between like 2 and 6, I would say. And this is weekly.
Mhm.
And they are constantly changing. It's a drop-in, so you can come as often or as little as you can manage. The Spanish class actually has a much larger group attending.
Trying to learn Spanish.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great.
which is wonderful to see in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did not reach part 1 in this objective with 50 non-English speakers attending English classes during that time period through 2020. So
Yeah.
it was a little tough and I didn't extrapolate information out further than that for this one, because I didn't have. I mean, I do have the information. I just didn't have time to go in and look at it and put it in. But we did reach part 2 of this objective. 90% of people report that their English has gotten better or much better.
That's good.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened to this chart, but it was there to begin with.
Googleate it.
Yeah. So we reached this objective, though, that 25% of people will indicate on a survey they use the library to improve or maintain their literacy skills. And so it's much higher than 25%.
Wow.
But again, this was a small survey group. So we reached this objective. Non-English speakers attending programs. And
Is that just here, just Sandy?
this is both Sandy and Hoodland. It's all combined. I didn't separate them out at all.
But they are
They are,
separate.
Hoodland is included, but all of the like surveys are entered separately so that I can see Hoodland separate from Sandy. Yeah.
And my question was more, are we holding the class in Woodland?
No, there's no class at Hoodland currently. So we don't have, we still didn't have enough reading tutoring data to do anything with this question. And we did recruit literacy volunteers. And then the circulation of fiction and nonfiction has actually increased. For kids, I was dubious when we did this that we would even be able to maintain that at the current levels. So that's wonderful to see that it.
Look at how it jumped in the middle of COVID from the 21-22.
Mhm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How much of that is due to the packages? Or is it the new, the moving the books?
I think some of it was moving the kids nonfiction out of the adult nonfiction area.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
And there are a ton of kids who just want to browse that. And when it was all mixed together, it was difficult to browse, for sure. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Can you tell how many are online orders versus in person?
I don't know. I might be able to do a report on that. It would take some finagling though
I'm
to
just
get it out. Yeah. It's not easy data to get. I mean, I know how many holds we get in and how many checkouts we have total. And that's something I could
Oh,
easily,
yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an interesting number to know.
yeah, but not by age group necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't break out that way, does it?
Yeah, no, but it's possible to get information by age group from the database now, but it's just
Or by collection,
complicated.
age group or collection,
Well,
like JFIC versus.
well, we could do either one. We could do JFIC and how many came in on holds and how many were just browsed, and we could do items that checked out to a juvenile.
There you go.
So,
Looking at who did, except that wouldn't tell you the families that do the one card for everybody.
right, right.
Yeah,
Which.
5 kids.
Number of books.
Right?
What was that?
Number of books, like number of holds versus checked out, just
Yeah.
total numbers,
Right, yeah,
materials, whatever.
yeah.
I think if you did it by collection, that would give you a good sense, right? Because then that would sort of be age group, right? It would give you
Yeah.
units.
Right, although I check out kids' books and other
Yeah.
adults check out kids' books.
Yeah.
You can read it.
The best literature.
That's true.
Well, and I wonder, on those stats, Sarah, when it, dipped down during deep COVID, I'll say. And then just consistently just going up and up. It just strikes me as a wonder of having had that time, not in school, well, sort of in school.
Right,
But if that didn't indeed like do a kick up in reading. Just a wonder.
yeah,
Because those are big jumps between those.
they are.
Those last 3 years.
Mhm.
I mean, 90,000.
Yeah, yeah. I am sort of dubious that this number is really accurate, the 2017, 2018. And I'm thinking it could just be as the items, the database ages, right? And as items are deleted, we sort of start to lose some of that data going back that far.
Right.
Which is why I wanted a 5-year strategic plan to begin with, because then I knew that data would be good. But that, I ran it so many different ways, and I ran it the same way I ran all of the other ones, and so.
I'm a little surprised. I mean, given that, the kids could, well, I guess it was, we had the pickups and stuff with the drive-by pickups and all during COVID. But, with the ability to kind of get things downloaded and all that, I'm surprised that it
Yeah,
dipped that.
yeah. But this could also be possibly, I think that was around the year that we moved the kids nonfiction.
Oh.
Around COVID or,
Early on, it was before COVID.
yeah, no, I'm just talking about the COVID ones that.
Yeah, but so that could be the difference in the moving.
That's not
some
enough
of
for
it.
the fiction.
Yeah, I know,
That's not, it's just not enough.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, oh, sorry, the door is locked. Yeah, we're locked in.
But I mean, just the recent trend, that's wonderful.
Yeah, the recent trends are great.
Doing the book bundles?
It's still available, but people aren't taking advantage of it, really.
What are book
So
bundles?
book bundles that you can just fill out a form and say, I want so many, this many books and on this topic or this genre.
Oh,
And library staff will pull them and check.
Pretty cool. It's
Checking
like,
them out.
it's like mystery bag,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really fun.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Made a lot of sense during COVID, though.
Yes.
yeah,
Couldn't browse shelves.
Right.
And-
I mean, think of all the new authors people got to hook up with.
yeah. And then finally, our computers. We've had about over 150 people take computer classes in the last number of years. So again, a small survey number, but 22, 23, a number of people filled out surveys, which is wonderful. And so
On the seniors, on this one with the
senior
seniors, and
citizens.
senior citizens,
Yep.
yes. Did you, have you done outreach to the senior center? I mean,
We've given our flyers to the senior center for
Okay.
our computer classes.
No,
Yeah.
I was just curious.
No, I'm going to ask both senior centers.
I don't know if well, Hoodland might not. I mean, they would have to drive into Sandy because we don't do computer classes at Hoodland currently. We could think about doing it, but nobody from Hoodland has requested it. They just might not know if that's a possibility.
That they don't know that.
Yeah. So we didn't reach our first two objectives in this one.
Is it possible that some already had email accounts?
Most of them do.
Yeah, that's what.
In order to order anything online, you have to have.
Right, yeah.
And most, to email your kids or your grandkids and stuff like that. So I think most people these days do have an
Mhm.
email account. So I think we underestimated, or maybe overestimated how many people would need an email account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was
that's a good point.
probably a non-need.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was a good idea at the time.
yeah.
Did you guys track your attendance for computer literacy classes and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. We track attendance for all of our
Right, yeah.
programs, yeah. So we did reach this objective, that they will report being comfortable or very comfortable. Well, that's a different question, it looks like, actually. Because we've got not at all, somewhat, and significantly.
Hmm.
So I'll have to look at that and see what's going on there. But, I'll have to take a look at that.
Maybe it got mixed up with the one Google ate.
Yeah, but that is the end.
Very good. I think huge kudos. Yes, because it was a very, very aggressive strategic plan. We knew that at the time when we did it and I think it kicked it out of the park, really.
It's also a challenging period.
I was gonna say, and amidst the global pandemic.
Yeah.
Which changed so many habits right in the middle.
Mhm. But I don't know of, not that I have pulled multiple libraries, but all of the ways that we just kicked in with new programs, new ideas, ways to keep services and materials available was just absolutely remarkable, just outstanding. And the fact that our nearby competing library system just shut down.
Yeah. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well done. Thank you. Super well done. Okay.
So any thoughts on how we want to proceed with a new strategic plan?
Mark it up as they were.
fine.
Could you talk some more about that person that you had mentioned last time?
Oh, yeah,
And what,
with the state library.
yes, what role they might play and how that might influence how we approach this?
Well, I would say from my experience, and this is Darcy. I think is her name, Darcy Hanning, who helps with strategic planning around the state. In my experience, she is more of a moderator to get people talking.
Yeah.
And but if, I'm assuming I would meet with her in advance and we would go through the Link strategic plan and we could outline some of the things. Because that's where we were talking about doing a jumping off point from, right?
Right.
Yes.
So is there anything from our now expired strategic plans that you would like to pick up again on goals that we didn't reach? Or, I mean, some of that I think is outdated, but is there anything that strikes you as something we need to
Focus on.
focus on again? And not just, you know, an overall, but any of those items that we didn't.
None of them strike me as things that are either currently, I want to say valuable because everything is valuable, but
Critical.
critical. And some of them, looking back on it, don't even seem achievable ever.
Uh-huh.
I think we were very ambitious
Mhm.
in our strategic plan, right? And we intended to get into the schools and just didn't see the difficulty there and those kinds of things. We really intended to do, we had a whole group talking about civics programming, and we intended to do civics programming around the election time to have local people come in to talk about things, and it just.
I do have one thought on that, though, is you met Lindy the other day. Lindy Hanley, she's the librarian at the middle schools at Boring and Cedar Ridge. And she is, I think she's going to apply to be on the council. And so, yeah, she might, you know, replace me as your liaison, which I'm sure you guys would all applaud. But she's so interested. She loves history. She loves, you know, she lives here in town, but she's, you know, I was just kind of chatting with her about that thing that you identified about the need to kind of be able to kind of coordinate and partner with schools. Seems like she would be the great.
Yeah.
Keep part of that, expanding that partnership. So that might be one of your strategic goals to see if you can't get some progress there.
I think if we did redefine civics as more of, you know, history pieces and things like that for the area, because that's, you know, that sort of civic pride in the area and the history of the area sort of plays into that, right? And things, we could think about doing something with that a little bit more, but.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think in that redefinition too, I think we want to stay away from the word politics or political. Because that's going to be a major.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's what people are really associating information literacy with as well, is
Yes.
those political issues. And, you know, there's all kinds of misinformation out there. It's not all political.
So maybe we need to address our wording on information literacy as well.
It is whether I think sometimes where you have a specific topic, you can say, we're gonna have a program about how do you find out about X? Sandy history could be, Oregon history, that kind of thing. Civics is a part of it, history is a part of it, culture is a part of it. Doesn't seem quite so fraught.
Right.
Yeah. It would be an immediate.
Yes. Our history programs at the library have good attendance for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even collaborating more with the Oregon Historical Society might,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, might give you some resources
Yeah.
that you could then use, and because people love this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you want, if you take off with the idea of the history of Sandy or the history of Oregon, you're going to, and obviously Oregon Historical Society has an amazing collection, and people will be surprised about some of the things they learn, to the good and to the bad. And I'm often quite surprised by fellow Oregonians who do not know their state history. So, you know, just a more fun way to find it. And hey, did you know that you can do this and find it? And
Right.
along with that, if you're all just sitting Googling or whatever, you know, well, why would you check that site? You know, how would we know that's legitimate? It all kind of comes in together, but you're not saying, oh, now we're going to do civics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even incorporating, which I think you have in the past, but also incorporating and bringing in resources from the Historical Society right here. I mean,
Mhm.
that's, yeah, it's a huge, huge resource. Well, another question I have, Sarah, is there a population within our service area? And many, if not most, all have been addressed in our prior strategic plan that you feel is getting underserved or has needs that maybe we attempted to do with the prior plan, or anything critical within any, you know, particular population? I mean, if anything pops out at you.
I mean, I would say that historically teens are a very underserved population. But we try to have a lot of teen events at the library. And I know that Ant Farm is focusing on that with their new learning hub and stuff like that. So I think there are more opportunities for us to work with groups like Ant Farm to do those kinds of events. I mean, I don't think they're underserved by the library now,
Mhm.
but certainly in the past they were.
Mhm.
Well, especially with Rebecca
Mhm.
and the programs that she has, brought in and is running. It's just fabulous.
Sorry, no, Kathleen, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, does that new place that they've kind of opened up there, does that lend itself to kind of having some programs over there?
No, we haven't touched base with them about it, but we used to have programs at the Ant Farm's main cafe space. We had our teen karaoke. It was our teen lock-in, and half of it was karaoke at the Ant Farm, and then the other half was at the library. So, yeah, I think there's the possibility. They're not staffing the center that often yet. I don't think I mean, it's gotta be tough. It's very new.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of waiting for them to get their feet under them before we approach to talk about doing joint things. But they are doing, and a lot of the things that they're doing like a teen paint night. They're trying to do monthly, which is what we used to do at the library. So, we need to be talking and sort of, yeah.
I'm only slightly facetious when I say karaoke in the library would be great. I'm a make a noise.
To what extent do you want the strategic plan to look at how the book deal could expand the reach of the
I think that could be a good focus of
Uh-huh.
Japan, or at
That
least
seems
for
to be
one of the.
something very specific to this period,
Mhm.
that we're going into something very different, very new, very challenging.
Mhm.
And to think through the elements, the possibilities, which I know you have been thinking of, but to actually put them down on paper and create some goals over a 5-year period, knowing that you've got a 2-year planning period here.
Mhm.
And then that could go to that question of, what population, what's the demographic you're trying to reach? What type of programming are you trying to achieve? What can you do about holds? What can you do about book bundles maybe, that might be attractive?
Well, and I think, it sounds like the school district is very excited to work with us with the vehicle and to do STEM activities in the vehicle. So I think that that's a great partnership, of course. And that's something we've been wanting to work on with the schools more.
Right.
I think a lot of it, obviously not the whole strategic plan because we want to serve people who come into the library, but we need to get out into the community, and the outreach piece, we could definitely flesh out in a new strategic plan.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound self-satisfied, but I think you do very, very well in the building.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
To me, the new challenge is outside the building. You know, where can you take that?
Mhm.
I think that oh, sorry. I don't know if maybe the objectives would be a little different, but keeping the early learning piece in the strategic plan, I think is
Mhm. Mhm.
probably always viable and
Yep.
important,
Mhm.
Yep.
Well,
especially now.
we've also talked about doing like taking the vehicle out and doing story times at like preschools and daycares and stuff. So we could increase our story time attendance by doing that, of course. And by taking the 1,000 books before kindergarten program out with us into the community, rather than having people have to come to the library to get those materials. So I think that is a natural piece that we could easily extend to this next strategic plan.
Yeah, that's great.
So I was trying to review my notes from last time. I can't remember if we agreed or we were still considering to align the Sandy Hookland goals to the link strategy. Is that what you decided?
It's a possibility, or we could go out and start just a fresh strategic plan that is not at all based on the link strategic plan. Those are the two options that I see.
Are you accountable to the link strategic plan?
Yes, I mean, the library will participate and try to achieve those goals with all of Link.
My question is like, is that doubling the work for?
It could be.
I don't really believe it
Yeah.
personally. I personally feel there's more power to being able to supplement and like really target and amp up that with like the Sandy to Hoodland nuances to that overarching plan.
Right.
So you and your team are
Mhm.
unnecessarily chasing multiple data points and.
But the early learning piece is in the Link strategic plan, and the outreach piece is in the Link strategic plan. So all of those things that we're talking about that we can see sort of moving forward so far are in that plan. So if we fleshed it out for Sandy, that could actually increase our ability to help with the Link strategic plan. So, yeah.
Sure, where you want to take this. You need a motion? What do you need at this point?
I just want some direction. I don't necessarily need a motion, just a feeling for which way we want to go and how to proceed.
So was the discussion of the links plan? Does that give you a direction to go in?
If we decide to
Yeah,
move
to do
forward,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a good idea to go in that way.
Mhm. Mhm.
I like Teresa's idea, using the link plan. It's kind of a starting point
Mhm.
because you're gonna have to,
You have to do
you're
it.
gonna have to do it anyway,
Right.
right? And then just looking at either those particular goals in that plan. And then as also Teresa said, fleshing it out for Sandy and Hoodland.
Yeah,
for our
basically
specific
customize
needs.
for our.
Customize it for us and say, well, we're already doing, this, and then just really assessing what critical areas, programs, what have you, goals aren't covered
Mhm.
in the link plan that we feel strongly about working on.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So.
I do think that there is a demographic that is not reached, but it has nothing to do with the library failing. But before I came on the board, I didn't really use the library. I just bought the books I wanted. And, and I'm a pretty good researcher myself, so, I never needed to come into the library. And then Ben West said the same thing, said exactly the same thing, that, oh, I had to buy the books and do that. And there is obviously a significant portion of the population that does that. So I do think there is a need to let us and them know everything that's just the marketing piece, if they choose to use it or not. And that's because that will support the library when we come to votes and different things. But people, if if you can just go ahead and get what you want without having to do that, and not realize what a resource it is, then you're less likely to support because, we forget that not everybody is in the same situation that you might find.
Right.
That's just a general marketing thing.
Critical though, you're gonna have to start early.
Oh, yeah,
When people have Kindle stuff, why would they?
exactly.
Why buy the cow when you're already paying for the?
But when I found out that I can get an ebook from the library delivered to my Kindle, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
well, because I don't want to change the way I use I read
Right.
online. So,
Mhm.
See, this is one of the situations where I think the bookmobile can.
yes,
really
yes,
help.
maybe. Mhm.
Because if the
Mhm.
bookmobile were at the
Mhm.
farmer's market,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
twice a season,
Mhm.
but that could be used as a marketing effort to say, whoa, did you know that you can do this? Did you know that you can do that? And have handouts or someone who can actually demonstrate how to do it.
Mhm.
That you might then reach.
Yeah, just even our newest brochures for the library that talk about the seed library and the library of things and the ebooks and audiobooks and, all of the different things that we do that aren't just checking out books.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time we do a library card these days, we're like, oh, here's our current hours,
Yeah.
here's a brochure and you talk about each individual thing and the cultural passes and that has really, and there's been a growth in the use of cultural passes since
Good.
we've gone to the third party.
That's my
thing.
thing. I always forget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you can do it from anywhere, you
Yeah.
could be in the car on your way to the Piddick Mansion and be like, oh, let's see if it's available.
Yeah,
And check it out. So,
and you
yeah,
don't need to come in anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so streamlined.
yeah.
Does every Clackamas County Library have the Library of Things?
No, just the ones that decided to opt in. There were some cities that felt like there was too much liability involved with it.
Yeah.
Well, I was at the ant farm today and these guys were outside the ant farm filming some sort of commercial. So I kind of nosily asked them what they're doing. They're from Travel Oregon.
Okay.
And I work with Travel Oregon folks on trails and stuff. And they were doing a feature on Sandy. And so of course I told them about the new park and all, but what you said, Lynn, just now talking about the fact that, Clackamas County, that whole idea of kind of marketing what the library can do for you.
Yeah.
And save you money on your Kindle bill, all those kind of things is so important. They have the, pot of money at the top to be able to kind of really hire some, fairly good sized guns as far as marketing campaigns to really, if nothing else, just to kind of educate people about what their libraries are offering.
Yeah, it is a kind of a generic, have you visited your local library?
Yeah.
And
think we should-
library, of course, again, because we're in a tourist area.
Yeah.
It is a benefit when those people come up and stay.
One thing we could do is we could do little short shots on video shots on did you know, are you saying, did you know that you can? Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Do any of you want to star in those videos? That's the problem. Is that, every time,
It's Teresa and Bethany, I can see.
I was playing the idea of it's a non-book thing, you know what I mean? Like not so much did you know,
Yeah.
but all the things you do that aren't books.
Yes.
Totally.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But
this-
Thea tried to get staff interested in being in videos like that and nobody was. And Alex has tried to sort of do the same thing.
Does it have to be a staff person?
It doesn't, but
Get someone from the drama department.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Get some of the board members to do some.
that's what I was asking. Is anybody
Yeah.
interested?
But that, it was
I'll do it.
actually a good idea, with the high school, they, I'm sure, do media studies somewhere in there, or, to, if you want to do some little
Yeah.
promotional videos and give them some.
We need Cheyenne.
Yeah, and then so we had a teen intern this past summer through the state library. And her culmination event was a program in the park. Which was wonderful. And there were about 80 people who came. And it was they were picture books acted out. So it was very fun. It was very fun. But before that, we had tried to get a teen intern through the ant farm. With that teen intern, it was going to be specifically a marketing person. And then between the time that Ant Farm started the program and the time that the library got a teen intern, they changed how they were paying them and they were making the organization pay them.
Yeah.
Which was a problem for the city. So, and then Ant Farm couldn't pay them. So she worked for 1 month and then,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so we had one video created that was great, and is still up on our website. But, yeah, so that was the whole idea
Yeah.
with that teen intern. But through the state library, it's the teen intern does a connected learning project, so something that they're already interested in. So you just interview teens and decide who you want, and then you brainstorm based on their interests. And so Aubrey had an interest in theater, so that was her program. So it was a lot of fun, but didn't get the marketing piece out of it.
Yeah.
But
When you do tables at events, like for example, you were just up at the Welch's School for Open House, do you do just general tabling or do you align the materials and the focus of what you're talking about to that context?
everything is to the context of where we're going. Yeah.
So like last Thursday was the Time of Remembering in Mining Park that Mountain Hospice puts on each year. And our library table there was just loaded with books on grief, death and dying for children and young folks as well as older population, and people could check them out at the
Right there.
Right there. Yeah, yeah. It's really great.
But yeah, when we go into the schools, we take all of our school age programming flyers with us and stuff like that. When we go to the senior centers or to the, we haven't been to Avamere. But when we take our new vehicle there, we will definitely highlight the computer programs and all of those things that we have for older adults and stuff. And the vehicle itself will be outfitted with materials towards those age groups. So my goal is to have 1 week where it's kid oriented mostly. We'll have some adult materials on, but mostly kid oriented. And then the next week would be adult oriented. So we would change out the materials each week.
Makes sense.
You know, the book bundles might be something to try on the outreach vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're already, population specific. Right, just an idea.
Make a book bundle while somebody's shopping at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Come back. Bundles are waiting for you.
Well, I'm thinking of
That might be a little.
Never.
Yeah, I think that's, as Sarah, well, anybody who's been on the board for a while knows that is my big thing. It's like, people have got to know who we are now, what we offer,
Yeah.
because there are so many people that just almost pass out when they hear that. They're shocked.
Yeah.
Because they have this impression that it's just these ancient dusty homes that are sitting on the shelf. And then they hear.
But you have to be quiet before karaoke.
Before karaoke, yeah. Yeah, karaoke in the stacks, yeah.
Well, we used to sort of have that with the music programs in the library.
Yeah.
The library was open, we had music going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I miss that.
I know.
Mhm.
All right, well, I will check with Darcy at the state library to see if she is interested and able to help us with this process. And try to schedule,
Meeting with her?
yeah.
Yeah, great. Could you send out the link strategic plan outline again to us?
Sure.
I'd just like to
It was in the last month.
Yeah, it was.
Last month.
Last minute's packet, it was the August 7th packet.
I know.
And all, they're all on the city website too.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, maybe we could just put that in the minutes. Anybody wants to refresh on what the link strategic plan looks like, that just to go to the August 7th meeting. Yeah, thanks.
You kind of definitely kind of need to, it's like really small font. I don't know what the font is here, but it's like only 6 or something.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
It's tiny.
So.
well, it's landscape, I think, so it
Mhm.
really shrunk it
Mhm.
down. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
PDF.
And then
Yeah,
you
you're-
scroll back and forth. Yeah, it's a little rough, but yeah.
At least we could see just the naming of the goals and areas. Yeah.
Yeah, 6.84.
Right, I will make sure in the minutes that it actually says
Okay.
of this meeting to, if you want to review the link strategic plan, look at the last meeting.
Okay, great.
And list the date and everything, so.
And any staff updates for us, Sarah,
No.
No.
other than sickness and?
Yeah, it's, we're very short staffed right now, so, but everybody's doing an amazing job, of course, of pitching in. So we're out 4 people right now. Yeah. But, we're hanging in there. Unfortunately, we have new subs who are fantastic, who are doing a great job, and our 2 new staff members are doing wonderful too, so, yeah.
Are you recruiting for those positions or not going to be hired?
No, they're people who are still working for the library, they're just not, yeah,
Yeah.
they're just not at work currently. So, I don't have any open positions currently, which is great, but sort of feels like we do. Yeah, 1 person out on paternity leave. So Greg had a lovely baby boy named Rowan. Yeah, so.
I just saw him the other day. So, not the baby, but.
Yeah. We were supposed to have our staff meeting was supposed to be his baby shower. And then the baby came the week before the staff. meeting. So it didn't end up working out, but 2 weeks early.
That's just getting me set up.
Yeah.
He's never gonna be in control.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's right.
That's the gift.
Hey, anything else?
No, I think.
Okay, so anything from anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, great. Let's adjourn the meeting at 7:17. Begin the meeting. Can you go ahead and start recording, Sarah?
It's already recorded.
Okay, great.
I just cut off
Okay, great.
the part that we don't need.
So